I still remember the exact second the room went silent. Forks frozen midair, glasses hovering just before a toast. My father smiled, tapped his wine glass, and said, "Before we cut the cake, I have an announcement." My heart pounded because I thought, finally, this was it. 10 years of 16-hour days, sleepless nights, missed holidays, and bleeding belief into a family business no one else wanted. A $50 million company built from dust and stubbornness. At Dad's birthday party, I thought he was about to say my name. He didn't. He said my brother's. The words didn't even register at first. Effective immediately, your brother will be stepping in as CEO. Applause erupted. My brother grinned, already halfway to the spotlight, holding a champagne flute he hadn't earned. He joined the company 6 months ago. I'd built it for 10 years. The walls felt like they were closing in, and for a split second, I considered standing up and screaming the truth. Instead, I smiled, because that was the moment I decided to teach them exactly what I'd built, and what would happen without me. 10 years earlier, the business was a joke, a dying storefront, and a name no one respected. Dad was tired. My brother was finding himself. I was the only one who said yes when everyone else laughed. I learned everything: supply chains, contracts, negotiations, compliance. I slept on office couches. I signed personal guarantees. I turned favors into partnerships and chaos into systems. Every major client, my relationship. Every expansion, my plan. Every crisis, my hands on the wheel. But none of that mattered at the party. What mattered was Bloodline Optics. He needs a chance, Dad said later, pulling me aside like I was an employee asking for a raise. You're good at operations. Let him lead. I nodded. Again. The next morning, I didn't quit. I didn't argue. I didn't sabotage. I documented. Every process I designed lived in my head and my private files. Every contract renewal hinged on me. Every key client had my number, not the company's. I began quietly stepping back, declining meetings, redirecting questions to my brother, letting him feel important. He loved it. He strutted. He announced vision. He ignored warnings. Then the cracks started. A supplier walked when payments slipped. A regulator flagged an issue I'd been managing for years. A major client called me directly and asked, "Is everything okay over there?" I said nothing bad. I just said, I'm no longer involved in decisions. 3 months later, revenue dipped. 6 months later, it hemorrhaged. Dad called emergency meetings. My brother blamed the market. Consultants were hired. Burn rates exploded. I stayed calm, helpful, distant. When Dad finally asked me to step back in temporarily, I asked one question: with what authority? That's when I made my move. I resigned. Cleanly, professionally, and I took my non-compete window like a starting gun. Within weeks, those same clients, tired of confusion and broken promises, followed me. Not all at once. Just enough. Enough to build something lean, focused, deadly efficient. I didn't steal secrets. I didn't break rules. I offered competence. The family company tried to sue. Their lawyers stopped returning calls once they saw the contracts. Mine, signed years ago, granted me ownership over the systems I created. Ownership Dad never bothered to read. A year later, the $50 million valuation was a memory. Investors vanished. My brother quit. Dad aged 10 years and 6 months. We met again, this time in a quiet office, not at a party. Dad asked me to come back, to fix it, to save the family. I said no, not angrily, not smugly, just clearly, because the revenge wasn't watching it fall. It was watching them finally understand that the business was never the name on the door or the man cutting the cake. It was the work they ignored, the loyalty they assumed, the person they overlooked, until I was gone. And that lesson, it cost them everything.